All right, we're rolling. Welcome everybody to the third episode of the 330 Club podcast. I got my buddy DJ with me today. What's going on, man? Thanks for being on here.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. I appreciate you coming on. I feel like you're such a busy guy, so I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's weekdays are kind of crazy, but it slowed down towards the end of the year. So
For sure. You've been hitting the gym a lot too, so I see, you're
yeah,
how's that going?
good. I just got back like I don't know an hour ago, something like that. Got some food and got cleaned up, ready to do this.
Hell yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I don't go as much as I should, and I think a lot of that is just like managing better, having better sleep, having more energy.
Yeah,
So like I'm trying to get there, especially because it's literally like on my way home every day. So it's I have no fucking excuse.
yeah. That's what most of it is, man. Just getting there and like because I can't go home after work. I have to go straight to the gym. If I go home, like I'm fucking dead to the
You're
world.
toast, yeah. I feel
Yeah,
that.
there's nothing gonna get done if I lay down, especially. That's it.
Well, I feel like you're a pretty ambitious guy. Like we're both like music podcasting. We'll get into all of that. Sometimes it's hard because like I want to do all this shit, and then I come home and I'm like, man, I just need to sit down.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I do sacrifice a lot of sleep.
Yeah,
That's the one thing I got to work on for sure, especially getting older, like it gets rougher every
dude.
year.
For sure. That and I want to get into that later because that kind of goes hand in hand with me because I've been like focusing on like diet and like drinking less and sleep has like really been the most improved thing within that. So it's
Yeah,
like helped my energy. But I was gonna ask too with the gym stuff, like does that help you playing drums so much, like being in better shape?
yeah, absolutely, dude. Not only do I play a lot of shows, I go to a lot of shows.
Right. No, I know.
Yeah, so like it's very good. It's been like really, really good this year. As many shows that I've been to and been able to play this year to like I do cardio probably 5 days a week. Every time
Yeah,
I'm at the gym, I do cardio, so I'll
for
run a
sure.
mile before I actually get into my session. But oh my God, it's done wonders, man. Like, especially going to some of the festivals I went to this year.
Oh yeah, Furnace
And
Fest.
yeah, Furnace Fest, being out there in the heat at a festival like that for 3 days, you got to eat and drink right.
Oh yeah,
You
for
can't, you
sure.
can't just go in there, like it's not like early 20s or late teens
No.
anymore.
Well, dude, the thing too, like even growing up going to Warp Tour when it would be like 90 degrees and people be out there drinking and I'm like, you're gonna pass out.
Yeah, dude, energy drinks and fucking
Yeah,
sneaking in liquor and stuff.
Monster and stuff. Yeah, dude. And I'm like, for me, even though, I mean, don't get me wrong, we've all been there in our certain situations, but like in the heat, I'm like, dude, I need water. Like, I'm dying out here.
Yeah, that was the funny thing at Furnace Fest, man, is they had you could get free Monster energy drinks like
Ugh,
all weekend, but water was $5.
that's brutal. That's actually like super ass backwards.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Because don't they? I saw it at the grocery store now, but I thought this was a thing on Warp Tour forever. They would have the Monster, but it would be water in the can, like for the
Yeah,
bands.
that's what they were selling for $5.
That's
The
stupid.
the the fucking the Warped Tour cans or whatever they
Jesus
were.
Christ. That's
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah, it sucks.
How was Furnace Fest though? Was it sick?
All was good, man. It was so busy. Like so many good bands played. It was hard to like
Oh yeah.
just kind of sit down and relax. Like as soon as one stage was over, well, most of it was at the Shed stage, but wasn't really a lot of relaxing.
Oh yeah. Well, no, and I'll be honest, I'm not a huge festival guy. It's not that I don't like enjoy them and watching the bands, but the everything else that comes with it kicks my ass.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of people like live for that, and I don't blame. Like, I'm not a hater, but I'm just like, yo, like that's such a long, like Riot Fest 3 days. It's so long.
yeah,
But Furnace Fest to me is one where I'm like, I should have went because those every year it's like those are my fucking bands, like right there. Those are great
yeah,
lineups.
man. The community was amazing out there. We made some friends out there.
Yeah.
Just like all the bands, like I said, just that there was nobody you didn't want to see,
Yeah. No, for sure.
like at any point in time. And the way it was set up too, because it's like it's a national landmark, but it's this abandoned steel mill called Floss
Yeah.
Furnaces.
Yeah.
So it's just like the sheds stage is inside where the blast furnace would be. So it's like a wind tunnel. So it feels awesome.
Yeah.
it's like keeps you alive, while you're going crazy in there.
I mean, I've seen like, like the Miz Sigs and stuff like that. And it's like such a crazy, just the pictures look crazy
Oh yeah,
in the
it was
videos.
insane. Yeah, it was definitely worth the trip. So I did Riot Fest too.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't going to just because we had already planned Furnace Fest, but I ended up getting some tickets to Riot Fest like last minute. You know, just like what is it, Do 312? They
Yeah,
do like ticket giveaways. Yeah, they just gave me like a pair of tickets for the
I
weekend. So I
mean,
was like, oh, okay.
can't say no to
But
that.
yeah, can't say no. But two festivals like that, pretty, like 2 weeks apart, that was brutal.
I mean, I think the thing that burns my ass a little bit with Riot Fest, this is just a bias because of where we live. There's a lot of bands who I don't get to get their regular tour in Chicago.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
so like for me, like I love Newfound Glory and they're doing I've seen them play all their records or whatever. They do that all the time. But like they're like, oh, 20-year Catalyst, but we're gonna play Riot Fest for Chicago, so we're gonna play like 12 songs. And normally they're like they play like 28, and I'm like, all right, fine. But again, like take your guarantee and play to a huge crowd. You might make some new fans, sell some merch. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I try to
And there's
understand it
so
for
many
both
people.
ways. Oh
Yeah, there's
yeah,
so many people that go too, man. It gets crazier every year.
yeah. Because I feel like you and I have existed in kind of a music scene for a long time now. We're not
Yeah.
like teenagers anymore. And once you're in your 30s, 40s, got different guys who we know. Like you kind of know that world. But then I know people who go to Riot Fest that have never been involved in the local scene, but they like some of these other bands. So it's a good opportunity for them to like, maybe find a new band they like or see somebody they've never seen before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then like there's always awesome after shows too.
Oh yeah. Although I'm kind of like sometimes I can't stay up for.
Man, yeah, it was Furnace Fest. We went to pretty much all the after shows, and that made it even like, you know, more brutal
Oh yeah. Well, another one of my
because we're all like mid 30s and up, and we're trying to like
I
survive
get
off
it.
4 hours of sleep.
I get it. And like okay, so you were at the Misery Signals, the Chicago last show that we saw each other there.
Yeah,
And for me, I mean, obviously we both love that band and like that was just like I wasn't gonna miss that for anything. But I was exhausted after that, as fired up as I was. I was like, oh my God, I'm tired. It wasn't even that late.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was pretty brutal. Man, I went to a show Monday at the Empty Bottle. They do free shows on Mondays,
Oh,
but
tight.
it was We Weren't Invited played. It's hard to describe them because all their songs are kind of different, but they're just really, really good live.
Okay.
But man, the show didn't start till 9, and I was
Well,
just like, oh, this is gonna fucking suck. Like,
yeah,
like the music was good, but I was like,
yeah.
man, like I don't want to do this.
Well, that's the funny thing is you see those memes online where it's like, oh man, once you're 30, it's like 3-band show done by 10, and you're like, fuck yeah. But that's the truth.
Yeah, obviously.
Like I told my brother, with the different, I'm doing some different stuff right now between, I'm going to do New Stowaway and I have some solo stuff or whatever. And I go, I would love to play some shows, and I don't want to leave any of my homies' bands out who want to play, but I'm like, I really want like a 3-band, 4-band bill. And like, that's it.
Yeah, the best way to go.
No, nobody gets bored.
Yeah, everybody gets your little half hour, 45 minute set, 15-minute breakdown. And
Yeah.
like you said, in 3 hours you could be in and out. Everyone's
Yeah,
having a
man.
good time.
For sure. It's again like too. I think part of that is like, and again, you were around when we'd have shows where it's like everything's a fest and there's like 15 bands. You know?
Yeah. It's like just going to shows for so long, like we're talking like over 20 years now, just being
Mm.
involved in the local like music scene. The past year or two, it's been amazing, especially in Chicago with East Moon playing as many shows as we have. And I've just been like going to more local shows in Chicago just to be, involved in the scene.
Yeah,
And it is alive and well. There's so many people going to shows now. There's so many like do-it-yourself shows that are popping up. These mixed genre shows.
that's the best.
Yeah, and they're like we will probably get into it a little bit later, but there's so many places I've been to this year, so many bands like at venues where it's just like everybody shows up and everybody stays for all the bands. Everybody's super hype. Everybody's moving. It's not like a popularity contest like it's been sometimes over the years.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. I know. I hear that, and I'm happy to hear that about the scene because I feel like it goes through lulls, and not to get into like older stuff, but like the pandemic, like nobody playing, kind of kicked everyone's ass. And
yeah,
then a lot of our bands, either like some bands broke up, some bands started then. Obviously, I met you when you're doing Low Country, but like East Moon is something I really wanted to dig into because, first of all, I think you and I are very similar where we like a lot of different genres.
oh yeah.
So, like, when I heard that, I mean, I think we played with you guys a long time, like when the band started.
Moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably. I mean. We
Maybe
started writing around COVID around that time. So it was probably around 2021, something like that.
probably, but I remember the singles coming out a few years later, and then this year I was at around April. You guys did the EP, and then I know there's a new single from September, late September, but the
Yeah.
EP. I was like, man, like I really vibe with this because it's got like the emo elements that I like, but it's not like boring like some of that stuff. Like you guys have like it's like it breathes well, but it kind of drives still, and the songs, the
Yeah.
choruses are there, and like it's well written. So like I actually really like what you guys are doing
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you, man.
for sure. Like
Appreciate
there's
that.
there's a breakdown. The newest song, is it Glowworm?
Yeah.
Where it's like kind of a halftimey thing, I think, and then it's like a breakdown, but then you're doing it's not even fills, but whatever you're doing in between, like where it would just be cymbal and like snare, and you're doing these cool like parts. I'm like, man, like that's
Oh,
such a
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So like for me, again, I know not to go too crazy into the songs, but like I really dig stuff like that, and it's cool because then you can play with like a band that's heavier than you or a band that's not as heavy as you, and people are still enjoying themselves.
Yeah. It's a whole nother world because, Low Country was just kind of real fast, crazy, heavy music. And the shows were awesome. Beautiful people, beautiful shows. But, you kind of limited of what venues and places and bands you can play with. You're kind of almost in a box,
Yeah.
which is not bad at all. It's just a different world. With East Moon, we've been able to get like shout outs on Q101. We've been able to
Yeah.
play with some pretty decent bands that just because our sound is so diverse, you know what I mean? Like we
Hmm.
can kind of mesh in with a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's funny because like when you like Stowaway kind of checks the box as far as like like what people would generalize us as hardcore, metalcore, whatever, you know, without getting into the specifics. So I loved playing with you guys and our other friends who had similar sounding bands. But then like we would get put on a lot of shows where we're the only heavy band or we weren't as
Yeah.
heavy as anybody else, and we would always be like, we don't know how the hell this is gonna go.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we'd be on a pop punk show and people loved it, which was awesome. But we were always like not nervous, but just kind of like, all right, like, are people gonna like, go outside and smoke while we play, or like, how's
Yeah.
this? You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you never know. We've been fortunate enough this year with East Moon. It's been like all the shows have just been really amazing. The local scene has been really good to us.
yeah,
But we've been playing a lot, just kind of showing our faces out there as much as possible. It works. It does a lot of things, just involving yourself in that
yeah.
community.
I tell people all the time, like I heard somebody else say this, so this don't I'm not giving myself credit for this, but I heard somebody be like, this touring and playing live goes back to the Beatles. Like they had success with it, and it started back then with like rock bands, and it's been
Yeah.
like that forever. As much as the internet can be a tool, and I think people really try too hard sometimes on the internet. Like obviously you got to promote your band, as awkward as it can be, but
Yeah.
every time I play live with one of my bands, I see the streams go up. I see we sell merch. Like when you work hard and you give it your all, and like you're winning them over, like they'll check your band out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Probably the past 3 or 4 shows we played, but we just recently played with Sparta at Bottom Lounge, and that was an amazing show. We sold a bunch of merch, sold a couple of vinyls there, met a bunch of people, started seeing people from shows that have been there before,
Yeah,
people starting to learn lyrics to the songs, things
hell
like
yeah.
that, and we've noticed that over the year just because we've been fortunate enough to be able to play some really good shows. And just because we play so much live, our live sound and our performance and everything just got super solid. It's almost like that was practice playing shows. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I believe that. Like I've told people I've played shows to like nobody before, but when you're in it for the right reason and you're all working together and like actually, it sounds cheesy, but like you get tighter as a band, you learn how to play with your bandmates, which is really
Yeah.
important. And especially like as a drummer, like I feel like there's drummers I've played with who are great drummers, but if you don't learn how to play together, it does not the same dynamic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we just developed a really good chemistry together. And like you said, once you kind of get that, and some of the venues we played in Chicago, we played like several times over now. So it's like
Yeah.
we know the sound guys that work there. We know a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
the some of the promotion companies like Kickstand or MP Shows,
Hmm.
stuff like that. We're familiar with these guys now. You know what I mean?
Well, dude, those rooms are
So
so different too. They sound
oh
different.
yeah, yeah, they really are. And but they've always made us sound amazing.
Yeah.
we made some pretty good relationships with people over this past year, especially after dropping the EP. So now when we play, it's been fairly easy, to just kind of show up and everything sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been nice.
hell yeah. What's funny, like if somebody who's never played a show before, or maybe doesn't go to shows, and they're like, "Well, what's the difference between playing like the bottom lounge and the Cobra lounge?" And I'm like trying to explain how my amp sounds hitting the wall in the room,
Yeah,
like you know what I mean? I'm like, "No, it's different, I promise." Plus at the Cobra lounge, I feel like I'm gonna bump my head on the ceiling.
yeah,
But I like bottom lounge is awesome, man. I grew up going to, I mean, I still go to shows there, but I grew up seeing so many bands I love there. So getting to play there is such a cool, like for me, it was really cool. I don't know how you feel about
yeah.
it.
Yeah, bottom. I think we've actually played there 4 times this year.
That's
It's
sick.
like our home base now.
It's a great room though.
It's a great venue. A lot of the people that work there are friends of ours. Our bass player Santi used to work there. The sound is amazing too. Like
Hmm.
I love when they have venues like that where the bar is separated.
Yeah,
They do all ages shows too, which is another really cool thing.
yeah. It's funny. Like I never thought about it before. Like when I was in high school, going to a lot of shows because you can only go to all ages shows. And then when you start seeing like 21 and over, and you're playing them, it's kind of a bummer. Not because like I mean, obviously like you want to play to everybody, but there's a kid who's 19 or 18 who like can't come to the show, who probably would have a great experience. It's not like about the bar.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The last show we played with Sparta was 17 and up, and there was
That's not so bad.
yeah, not bad at all. But like, I think you can even bring like if you have a younger kid, if as long as they're accompanied with an adult, I think they would
Okay.
allow that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But the crowd was pretty like young too. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
kids will show up to shows. I remember being 16. Like having a buddy who had a car, and it was like almost every other weekend. It seemed like going to shows in Chicago, just trying to like. Well, back then it was you had to go on like trustkillrecords.com or something to like find
Yeah.
out like where the shows were.
Right.
And
Right.
then, yeah, we were just like, it felt like every other weekend just driving out there,
Dude,
waiting in line outside, all that stuff.
I was talking to somebody about this because I sound like the old guy, but you'll know what I'm talking about. Kids don't remember how important MySpace was for like a brief moment in time, where
Oh, yeah.
like a band, it could be a local, not like maybe not like a local band, but like Asteria is a good example where they would be on some little
Yeah.
tour and then they'd be like, "Yo, we're home, first 200 people at this, whatever VFW show or whatever," and you're like, "All right, sick." Who's got a car? You jam like 8 kids into somebody's like burnt out Chevy that's like barely running, and everyone's smoking in the car, and like and it was like a social thing too. Like I love the music, but like you're hanging out with your friends. Like it was about being with people.
Yeah, exactly.
So like
Yeah, it's a community.
so does it feel kind of like, obviously not like that exactly, but like have that vibe of like people are there together having a good time right
No,
now?
yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we've been fortunate enough to play some really good shows this year, but even some of like we played a DIY venue in Chicago. This guy does shows out of his house. He never releases the address, but he'll say like we do like a $10 donation. He's run it super professional. He has like a lounge area for bands. He has a place for merch. He has like a little crew to help with sound. He does video for every band that plays, puts them on
Dude,
his
that's
YouTube
sick.
page. It's amazing. It's in I want to say the Logan Square area. Oh
Okay.
no, Irving Park. It's in Irving Park.
All right. All right.
But it's just this amazing community of like local Chicago people and he does it every weekend, and people show up, you know what I mean? And it's like, Chicago houses are like long, narrow with the
Yeah.
stoop that goes up, usually duplexes, something like that. And the way he has it set up is just like, it's just so cool. It feels like back in the day, like when like someone would be setting up a show in the garage or something like that. You know what I mean?
Dude, played some really crazy house shows back in the day.
Yeah, back then I think it was a little crazy. I don't even think you could really do stuff like that much anymore.
I remember one time one of my bands, we were playing with Pig Champion, and some dude threw another guy through a wall. And I was just like, dude, this poor kid's parents are gonna be so
Yeah.
pissed. Like that kind of shit. Now, I'm not advocating for that. I just mean like I remember like
Yeah.
being there like as a bystander, like, all right, I gotta go play now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's awesome. And it kind of reminds me too of like how you can record in your house now. And it's like you just need the right microphones and to know what to do,
Yeah, pretty much.
you
Yeah, you
know.
don't need much.
Like I was telling somebody, I go, I just do pre-pro at home and like demos, and then I go to like somebody because I just don't really mix or master and plus it's my own stuff, so I want somebody else's ears to help me out. But I'm like, man, I'll do a demo and it'll sound better than something I paid for like 12 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Nowadays.
I listened to something I did like, I don't know, 2012-ish, and like the snare sounds like the kickball at gym class.
Oh my God.
You
Yeah.
know
The
what I
fuck
mean?
shit.
How the
That
hell?
super high overtone. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, how are we miking this snare drum? Like, it's not that
Yeah.
hard, but I guess it
They have
was.
it's like all the drummers are using it now. It's like this mic that you clip onto your bass drum and
I've
it just
seen
kind of
that.
picks everything up. I'm probably going to buy one within the next couple of weeks because like,
Why not?
yeah, you don't need like the four mics, chords, all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Dude, you watch YouTube videos and like people are like, how to mic drums in your studio, and they're like, all right, you need like $15,000 worth of fucking shit. It's like, no, you
Yeah.
don't. I promise you don't. Plus, like most drummers that I know don't use that much stuff. Like,
No.
you
Yeah.
know, maybe
That
that's just
that
not a
little
thing
Yamaha
anymore.
thing. No,
Yeah.
yeah. That little Yamaha mic, I think it's like $500.
Yeah. And that's not bad at all. I mean, in the context of microphones,
Yeah, for what you get out of it, it's pretty amazing.
every podcaster in the world's got an SM7B now, and those are like $400. I think the drum mic will probably
Yeah,
pay off eventually.
man, I like to go to Goodwill. I'm like always thrifting, looking for cheap stuff. But Goodwill's you'll find some gold there sometimes. But I found a Shure SM50 microphone, like brand new
Oh,
there. Like,
dude,
yeah, I think I paid like $7 for it. You
that's
know,
insane. Those are $100.
they're $100 mics. Like, what's going on here?
And for what it's worth, that's probably a way undervalued. That's like an all-time mic.
Yeah, like that's the industry standard right there.
Yeah.
You know.
The only reason I originally bought an SM7B is because they had a big sale. So I got it like, I don't know, maybe like $100 off.
Oh
And
yeah.
when I record in my house, I don't really have like a vocal booth, so that won't pick up the room.
Okay.
Because like
Yeah.
trying to EQ the fucking room echo out of a vocal track is a nightmare.
Yeah, I could imagine, man. I'm not good with any of that stuff, the editing or mixing. I'm trying to get better with stuff like that, but God, I get so frustrated with it.
Are you into like when you're doing a recording with one of your bands? Are you like super into how the drums sound though?
Yeah, I wish I probably took more part of it because I don't think the drums have ever been exactly how I wanted it to sound on a recording I've done, and
Okay.
I've done quite a few recordings. But studios are different. A lot of times people just kind of put like programs over drums or they're
Yeah, they
like
just put
little mixed
samples on
in.
top.
Yeah, but it's kind of most of the times we've been to recording studios, we've been fortunate enough to work with people. So it was, like just kind of letting them do their thing.
I don't recall when you guys did the EP, was that with Seth or Sam?
Oh, we did that with Sam.
So, yeah, dude, Sam's awesome.
Yeah, Sam's a man. Yeah, that was really, really cool. That was a super easy experience working with him.
Shout out recording with Sam because I know he just got the new joint up and running. I'm gonna try to go see him
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, we did a glowworm. We did a live recording with him,
Okay.
and it was awesome. Super, super easy. I think it maybe a couple hours finished the song, just basically did a live performance recording.
So that you guys did that whole one like live and then just did the vocals over it?
Yeah. And then dropped it on Spotify like a couple weeks later.
I mean, it sounds good, but like that just shows how tight you guys are playing.
Yeah. What's crazy too is we wrote that song really fast. Like we weren't even exactly planning to write a song, but,
Okay.
sometime in practice when we just have so many shows going on, when we get time to practice, we'll be like, well, fuck it. Let's just, mess around with some riffs or whatever.
Sometimes the good ones come out like that.
Yeah. And then, before you know it, a 3 hour practice, we're like, oh, that's a song. That's a
That's
whole ass
awesome.
song right there.
That's cool. I didn't even know that, man. I've listened to the song a few times and like it definitely like I think it's consistent with your other stuff where it doesn't have like a overproduced sound, but I mean it sounds great, but it's not like, too
Yeah.
clean where the guitars are like when they're supposed to cut, they cut. But I didn't know you guys cut it like that. That's super impressive, like for
Yeah.
playing together.
It was really, I think maybe before we went into the studio, we might have played that song like 10 times total.
That's
Like
crazy.
we just wrote it, jammed it a bunch of times, and then we were like, cool, let's go to the studio with it.
Well, again, with Sam being a drummer too, it takes somebody to know like, okay, this is in
Yeah.
time, like all of that kind of stuff. Because man, I've seen the stereo like 50 times, and
Yeah.
that dude used to play the hell out of his kit. Like He was so good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love Sam. That's such a good dude. Such an easy dude to work with too.
hell yeah, I'm hoping we're hoping to go see him soon with one of my new projects. It's kind of more like alt rock.
Oh, nice.
So like,
Yeah.
I feel like he kind of lives in that world somewhere. Kind of, kind of
Yeah.
in line with what you guys are doing, not exactly, but we were talking to him, and then there's kind of a delay with the studio situation.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But I'm glad he's doing his thing because he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a super good dude. We're actually currently writing some more music, but I don't exactly know how we're gonna go about the recording process again.
Mm.
It'll fit if it will be with Sam again, or what we're gonna try to do. If it's gonna be an EP or just releasing singles. But as of now, we've just been trying to write new stuff.
Well, sometimes too, like it's good working with different people. You learn about yourself and your band and kind of what you want, what you don't want.
Yeah, different sounds. I think we've kind of like after the EP and then Glowworm, we've kind of like found a more comfortable sound for us and a direction we want to start going, for sure. So now we're writing songs kind of catered to that. You know what I mean?
Would you guys do a full length ever?
We talked about that doing a full length, but hopefully this next coming year is going to be really good for us. We've been working on a lot of things, making a lot of good connections, and we're
So
hopefully
let
going to be.
somebody else finance it, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we're hoping to do some
Hopefully.
traveling, things like that. Kind of just stretch out a lot more in the next year.
Hell yeah.
So I'm sorry, what was the original question you
I
asked
just
me?
asked if you would do a full length. I'm selfishly like a
Yeah, the
big
full length. Yeah,
big album guy.
yeah.
I
Wait,
love listening.
that's me too. Like I actually, as many projects I've been in, I don't think I've ever released or been part of a full length. It's always been EPs and singles
Yeah.
or this or that. We talked about doing a full length, but because it's going to be so busy this year, we're probably going to be just releasing at the most an EP, probably be like a 5, 6 song, something like that. And then we're kind of tossed up about like doing singles and things like
Hmm.
that. It's weird nowadays, like with streaming and everything like that. It's almost as if like you need like quick attention, like here's a song, okay,
Yeah,
here's
it's like
another
you might as
song,
well
you know what I mean?
record an album and release it as 10 singles almost.
Yeah, it's almost like it feels like that point because there's still people out there like you and I who love to get a brand new album and just
Oh,
listen to it front to back with no knowledge of everything before or after,
dude,
you know?
that's old school though.
Yeah,
Like
it really
we
is.
it's like I love records so much that when there's a good record because I study like, okay, how did they structure this track list and like,
Yeah,
this kind of flow, and is it split up, and because sometimes you could tell like, okay, this is kind of three parts or whatever, half and half. I'm such a nerd for that, so that's the only reason I ask selfishly, is like I would love if you guys did
yeah,
a full.
yeah. We really want to, but if we do a full length, it probably wouldn't be till like later into 2025 when we
Sure.
start that process,
Yeah.
And it kind of really depends how the year goes for us, coming into 2025.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, that's a lot of work. Like something I've always admired, and this is just as a friend, I'll say this, like you're very committed not just to playing the drums, but like doing a band. Like it's hard to find people who still have that level of commitment anymore.
Yeah, it's hard, being in bands like being in a relationship. You know what I mean? Like you have to
It's like
like,
being in a relationship with like four people.
yeah, you know what I mean. It like not only do you have to get these people in the same place at least once or once every other week. We try to do once a week. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, which is hard nowadays at our age to get people to do that. So not only
Right.
do you have to do that, but you have to like plan and organize and like
Yeah.
be involved in merch and designs
It's
and
a commitment.
logos. And yeah, there's so many like, our group chat is just a constant thing of like, okay, check out this email, check out this offer, this promotion company hit us up, this show got offered to us. Should we hit these guys up about a show? I want to make this new shirt design, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But it's
It's
just
hard.
constant, yeah.
Well, man, like too, like being at the age we're at, like people obviously have careers. They don't live close together anymore. Like when you're in high school or whatever, they are married or have serious relationships, kids, whatever it might be, like you said. And that's why I'm not dissing people who can't do it all the time. Like that's not what I meant to do, but I'm just saying like
Yeah.
I love that because like that's the type of energy I try to have with it, you know?
Yeah. I tell people all the time, like, if I didn't do it, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
I
like you
just
gotta love it
wouldn't.
though.
yeah, you got to be involved. Like I wouldn't be able to play some of the shows I play or with the talented people I play with if
Yeah,
I just didn't keep immersing myself in it, and that's the
absolutely.
give and take kind of sacrifice, because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time out of your day, leisure time, stuff like that.
Well, I guess that's actually a great segue for something I was brought up earlier is like, I've seen you've been posting about having like a really healthy lifestyle as far as like being sober, going to the gym. I know you talked a little bit, we were talking on Facebook about like sleeping and like diet and stuff like that. You were making like a post. And to
Yeah.
me, I've really leaned into that a little bit more, I would say over the last like 6 months, because I feel like you don't have the energy to do the things you love. And sometimes you're almost handicapping yourself without knowing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at a certain point, if you really want to like get the most out of your life, you really just got to start, improving all the parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like owning a car. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you have to get the oil changed. You have to keep up with gas. You can't drive around on empty all the time. And you can't not change the oil for 6 months. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of it is just basic, real simple stuff: water, food, sleep, and exercise. And it's hard for a lot of people because they're used to just life's hard right now. It's busy. You have to work because everything's expensive. Everybody has to work overtime. It's hard just to live alone if you are in a situation like that where you're paying for everything by yourself. So the last thing on anybody's minds is
Like health. Yeah.
and their health. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the gym and run a mile. After I just
Yeah.
worked a 12-hour day.
But I think even too, like you touched on, like it's like little things. Like for me, I still like I drink sometimes, but like I was drinking a lot, which isn't good.
Yeah.
Even though I'd be like, I can handle it. Well, yeah, but you don't get as good sleep. And then I'm like, maybe I should stop drinking energy drinks. I just drink black coffee, and I'm like, okay, my sleep's way better. Stuff like that. You get
Oh
your
yeah,
and again,
absolutely.
everybody's body's different, so I'm not telling other people what to do, but it's like getting good sleep for me and drinking a lot of water, not eating junk. It's like that gives me the energy to get off work and then come home, eat dinner, and then do this or go to band practice or whatever it might be. And I'm much happier doing the podcast or making music than I am sitting around watching TV or like, getting fucked up or whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of like that sluggish feeling comes from that just eating fast food all the time and
Hmm.
drinking on more weekdays than you plan to,
Yeah.
which has happened many, many times to all of us.
Yep.
I quit drinking a little over a year ago.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's probably been like a year and a few months, something like that. But the difference in everything, my face, my body, everything like that is stamina, sleep. Oh, well, sleep. I don't get much sleep, honestly.
But is it better quality sleep?
Yeah, it's definitely better quality sleep. Like when I was drinking, you either pass out, I don't know, on a Saturday night and you wake up at 10 in the morning on a Sunday, you know what I
Ugh.
mean? And then you're
Yeah.
hungover and then your body's shot. And then like Sunday, you're like, whatever, I'm going to do a lazy day. I don't do that anymore. I'm usually up by 7 in the morning, even on my days off,
Hell yeah.
which even isn't that many then. But I get the most out of my day. I'm up at 7 in the morning. I'll can get a lot done before 11 in the morning and still be able to enjoy my day. And I'm not feeling hungover. I'm not
Yeah.
eating junk food right when I wake up. You know what I mean?
Hell, that's awesome because like that's how I feel like I still commit like my Sundays during football. I'm a big football guy. Like I'm betting and watching the games, but I'm up, like you said, I'm up at like 7, frying up like eggs and like,
Oh yeah,
like
oh
getting
yeah,
jacked for my day, making coffee. And it's like I feel generally like, hey, I'm having a quote unquote lazy day, but I'm also going to get a bunch of shit done. So it's really not a lazy day. It's just more of like a at home day, if that makes
yeah,
sense. But like, so hard to like get up feeling like shit, go to work, feel tired all day. And sometimes too, it's not even people like drinking or smoking. Like some people just eat like shit, like they eat too much sugar or whatever it is.
yeah.
Like I don't really drink a lot of pop. Like I drink a lot of these seltzers. You know what I mean? Like nothing in
Oh
it.
yeah.
I like those. That's just me. And then a lot of regular just water all day.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned the seltzer. We East Moon, we got to play a White Claw sponsored show over the summer.
Oh yeah, there's no alcohol in this. This is just like a regular.
Hell yeah. And yeah, it was like Wicker Park Fest they do in Chicago.
Yeah.
It was like one of their after shows at the Bottom Lounge, and White Claw were sponsoring it. So the rep like was asking us, he was like, "Oh, like what kind of White Claw do you guys want for the green room?" And nobody in East Moon really drinks.
Mm.
Actually, none of us drink at all, for at least to my knowledge, in a while. So we were like, "Yeah, we don't really drink." And he was like, "Oh, that's cool. We'll bring the non-alcoholic White Claws." And I was like, "I didn't even know they made that."
That's
But
weird.
yeah, I had one, and it was literally better than like any regular seltzer I've ever
I
had.
would say I don't like any type of alcoholic seltzer. I think they're pretty not good for me.
Yeah, and like, but like even the water seltzers, because I tried those, and I just haven't found one that I like.
Sure, they're
But
very plain.
but this non-alcoholic White Claw was like delicious. I was like, why can't they just do that with the water? Like,
Yeah,
what
I don't
happened?
know.
Why is the flavor good here and not there?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't know what's in it. I know with these the ones I drink, I'll buy different brands. I think I just like carbonation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the thing for me.
And it's like I'm not really like I used to drink a lot more beer. And I was drinking a lot of energy drinks, and like I don't. I mean, again, I'll drink every now and then, but it's usually like I have to make sure I'm being responsible about it. Otherwise, I'll just fuck my whole week up on one day.
Oh
And
yeah,
and
absolutely.
I've recognized that over time after like going like a month and being like, yo, like living super healthy, and then you drink 2 or 3 days and you're like, oh my God, I'm horrible. So, it's not a lot of that, but also too, like I haven't had any energy drinks in a long time just because I would drink sugar-free ones, but I think that they were just keeping me up, even though I drink them in the like early in the morning, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I still do sugar-free Red Bull. I still have a couple vices. I'm like
Well, I'm not a
hard to
hater.
let go,
I just think it was messing with my like personally. I think it was like not
Oh
letting me
yeah,
get
yeah.
quality sleep.
I think that's like one of my favorite parts of like the whole journey of trying to get healthy and working out, eating better is like it's such a pure form of improvement because like the results are there only if you're actually doing the work.
Absolutely. I mean,
It's nothing that can be faked or anything like that. Like you're only going to gain strength and muscle because you kept going to the gym, and you're only going to actually start feeling better and losing that sluggish feeling if you eat better, which both require a lot of work, you know?
yeah, absolutely. But like, even if you go a month and even if you're not super active, if you do some walking, fix your diet, drink a lot of water, like you'll drop like 10 pounds in a month without
Oh
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And then you go to the gym
Yeah.
on top of that and it's real.
Yeah, it's addictive, especially once you start seeing results. I think at least for most people, once you see something and you're like, oh shit, like,
Mm.
okay, so I can do this,
What's
and
on
it
your
just kind of
gym
snowballs from
playlist?
there. Oh man, it's always different. Today I was listening to Touche Amore, and we weren't invited a lot. Sometimes I get stuck on like one song. Do you ever do that? Where
Yeah.
I'll do one song on repeat.
Dude, when Knocked Loose came out with like their single before they ever did a full album, but like the single that was on the album, I had it
Yeah.
on loop and I almost ran through the treadmill. Was like doing like an incline run to it and they're just doing like this riff and I'm like, holy hell, this is heavy. And I kept
Yeah.
like looping it. And I don't actually haven't listened to them in quite a while, but I remember like that one song because I like a lot of heavy music at the gym or like fast punk rock music.
Yeah, I like that too. I think some of my favorites at the gym for heavy music, I love this one band called the Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir.
Okay. Check
They're
them out.
like, yeah, they're super heavy. They're really, really political. That's my only thing. I'm like,
I feel that
about it.
lyrically, I'm kind of like with lyrics, I'm kind of more on the other end of that too.
Yeah, it's like, whatever, do your thing. It's just not for me. Another one would probably be Gel. I listen to a lot of Gel
Dude,
at the
they're
gym.
cool. Yeah, I just found them like maybe a month ago. I'm kind of
No,
like,
yeah, Gel's really cool. Bobby, their bass player, he's a homeboy of our singer, Jacob. He made some merch for them a year or two ago, something like that. Cool as fuck. We see him every time they come out.
are they on that label? What is it? Blue something? I want to
I'm not sure. Couldn't
say
even
they
tell
just
you.
got Super Heaven just signed to a label. They're doing it at full length, and they put a single out the other day. And I think that they said they're homies with Gel, and they got them on that label, or like they introduced them to the guy. That's what I heard. I'm not sure. I was listening to a
Yeah,
podcast about it, but that's cool. So yeah, what else? What else you jamming there? Sorry to get off
man.
topic.
There's been so many. I'm gonna pull up my Spotify thing now
That's
because there's been
always the
so many
thing.
good bands.
dude, I'm so guilty of this, but like every time I ask somebody or somebody else, oh, let me pull my Spotify is literally the play though.
Yeah, I gotta pull this shit up. Oh, this is a one band I discovered on accident through Instagram, and they're like one of my new favorite things. They're called the Barbarians of California. Have you ever heard them before?
No, but that sounds like a Jackass episode.
Oh my God, they're very every time I die ish,
Okay.
a little bit
Sky Point.
faster, more punkish. I think. I at first I on Instagram I follow Snapcase, and
Oh
I
yeah.
thought Snapcase
Goats.
released a new song, so I was like, okay, let me check out the song, and it starts playing. I was like, oh, this isn't Snapcase, like this is something different, and it was the Barbarians of California. Their record just dropped. I want to say like a couple weeks ago. That's been like probably on repeat for me for a while. The new dealer that came out recently, that's another one I've been listening to a lot. Actually, that's my buddy just turned me on to that new Counterparts just came out, so I was
Yeah, it's
listening to
heavy as
that
shit.
today. Oh my God, yeah, that caught me off guard right there. I got to see them for the pre-show at Furnace Fest
Yeah, I
at
love them.
a smaller venue they had. That was so insane.
Yeah, they're awesome, man. I think they're actually the band I've seen the most in my life because they're my brother's favorite
Oh
band.
wow,
And then we kind of gotten to know them over the years a little bit. So like went to Canada and like went to one of their CD release shows and like seen them in Chicago, Indy, wherever. And they're just every time with even with different members, they just nail it.
yeah, yeah, that's
That's one
awesome.
of those. That's one of those bands. I was gonna say I know I have Low Country on one of my gym playlists.
Oh hell yeah.
I actually probably have old Snapcase on the same one.
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that old school, just like late '90s, early 2000s is my shit when it comes to that. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I probably some like Misery Signals, Harm's Way, a
oh,
couple things like that. It's just some really I know some heavy ass breakdowns, you know.
dude, listening to Harm's Way is like its own workout.
Yeah, it really is.
Like you listen to like I remember like the first time I saw them and you see their singer and he's got like no shirt on and he looks like a pro wrestler and he was like, oh my god, this how is this gonna go?
Oh yeah, it's terrifying and amazing. I
Yeah,
love it.
they're so good for sure. Yeah, I know we both love Mizigs. I mean, they're just all time.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And another one probably Callous Cowboys. I love listening to them at the gym because they got so
I
many
haven't
crazy
heard them.
songs.
I'll
Hey,
have to
you haven't
check
heard Callous Cowboys? Oh,
them.
they're one of my fucking favorite bands now. I know they're writing new music now, but their last record that came out was fucking. It's math metal, dude. It's
Okay,
chaotic fucking math metal.
that's
Really
okay.
hard to describe. A lot of bands don't sound like Callous Cowboys. At least their new record. When
Check
I
it
was
out.
in Yeah, super good. When I was in Low Country, we used to play with this band called Hot Gospel
That's
a
a
few
great
times.
name.
Yeah, super good name. I think they were from Seattle at the time, but anytime they were on the road, we would always link up with them. And their drummer ended up playing with Callous Cowboys.
Hmm. That's like a pretty hard kind of thing to keep up with if it's like kind of off-timey, like chaotic shit.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. A lot of math metal things like that. That's another one I'm listening to a lot is Kawanashi,
Oh
another
yeah,
crazy
yeah, they're sick.
math metal stuff. Their new EP was really really good. A lot of people are turned off by Kawanashi because of the screaming, but the new EP was really it wasn't like any of their other stuff.
Nothing I haven't heard at the Eagles Club before.
Yeah.
You know, that's not. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just, you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Sick. That's sick. Yeah, I feel like with the off-timey, like I mean, I play in time and everything fine, but like there's such a muscle memory when you learn your songs, you know, when you play shows, you don't really
Yeah.
think about it. And I feel like if I was having to kind of veer off and do this crazy shit, I would have to start improvising.
Yeah, I think that's what I love the most about music like that. I love really dirty, really raw energy.
Just like the
Like,
chariot and shit like that.
yeah, the Chariot. I think the beautiful thing about it is because most of these bands, they're doing what they want. There is absolutely no rules. There's no structure. It's not like, oh, you're supposed to play this chord. It's just like, I'm going to punch this fucking guitar. And,
Yeah.
like, it's all about energy for the most part.
But it always made me feel weird, and I'm not a hater. I'm sure there's plenty of bands in this genre that I actually like, but there's kind of like singy metalcore where they like have the singing part, but then it's like very structured, like overproduced metalcore.
Yeah, real clean, you
And
know.
I'm kind of like I get that they are people that like that, but when those bands get big and they evolve, then they turn into like what the Devil Wears Prada is now, where they're just like a good metal band and they're
Yeah.
playing open air or whatever. Like that doesn't last. So I'm like, what is the market for this exactly? Like, why not just play what you want?
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's such a big saturated market now, man, and like
It's weird.
I mean, there's a lot of good bands out there,
Yeah,
but
yeah, for sure.
there's also a lot of bands out there that are just like it's all image.
Yeah, like how many times have you seen a band where you could tell they're backtracking stuff, and I'm like, why even tour?
Yeah, like backtracks. It really depends what
Well,
you're
I mean like
doing, but
everything though. I mean like the guitars, not even like
like the whole thing, yeah.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
No, I don't care if people have tracks. That's fine. I just
mhm,
mean like I've
yeah.
seen metalcore bands where they're like chugging and it's not lining
It's the
up.
whole thing. Yeah,
I'm like, what the
yeah,
fuck are you doing?
yeah. Like, what's the point of that, man? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't care about use the technology, man. Sample pads are sick, like
Oh yeah. I
I'm not
use
against it.
I have an MPC one like Kai that I use.
Hell
I
yeah.
do like drum beats and I just kind of mess around in my own time, but I'll use it with East Moon Live because you can just sample anything online, just find a quote or rip something off YouTube, and turn
Oh,
it into an MP3.
Solway used to do when we'd have a breakdown, we'd have the Tony Hawk special trick,
Oh, I
like
feel
they'd like
shit.
"Dun," and like or like the Metal Gear Solid or what, like because I mean they're all huge video game guys. I'm kind of not really, but I like Tony
Yeah.
Hawk. And so I would laugh because we were like my brother's saying some, like we kind of live in that counterparts, like Misery Signals kind of style. And it's like some real serious breakdown and lyric, and then you hear some fucking video game thing, and I'm like, God, people probably think we're a joke. But I mean,
No, that's the stuff's fun
love it.
live.
Yeah, I always say I take our music like in any project I do, I take the music very seriously, but I don't take myself too seriously.
Yeah. We recently started doing our outros, like when we're tearing down music, we played the Unsolved Mysteries song.
Dude, that's the best. We would do shit like that too, like play Twin Peaks music and weird, whatever.
Yeah. We try not to have like any dead space
hmm
before, after, in between the songs. So we have all this stuff just in case.
I love that because I feel like at a show that it may not be like a local show, but like a smaller club show, I'll say, because this doesn't really apply if you're going to fucking Tinley Park or whatever. But like
Yeah.
at a club show, like even a band that is like a huge band, like when there's that dead space, people kind of talk and then it gets weird and that
Yeah,
you don't hold
you
their
want to keep the
attention.
ambiance. Yeah, you want to keep the energy up, keep
Hold their
everybody's
attention.
attention. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes like some people have frontmen who like they don't want to talk or they don't really have much to say and then they start saying weird shit.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty awkward moments for sure. Luckily Jacob is really, really good at getting the crowd interactive with stuff,
Yeah.
getting them moving, because like it's not like mosh pit music anymore, you know what I mean? So it's not like just playing a heavy riff and the mosh pit creates itself, you know what I
Right.
mean?
You have to kind of inviting to get people to kind of like nod their head and kind of get like into the songs themselves instead of just feeling a fight riff.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Now you gotta like get their attention and now try to get them to fucking, fit.
Hell yeah. No, I just think it's funny because you'll be like, now you're the older guy who's been to a million shows. Like I'm saying that about myself. Like you see these bands
Mhm.
up, they're like, sorry, we suck. It's like, dude, shut up. Like,
You
stop.
should,
Just like enjoy yourself, play your set, like, be into it. Like if you don't like your music, why should I?
yeah, it's I've seen some bands go on stage like that too, where it's just like I don't know, man, go play in a cover band. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and I mean respect to cover bands, but like there's a big difference between doing those two. I mean, I've never been in an actual cover band, but I would imagine it's a huge difference in like just the approach.
Oh yeah, like absolutely nothing wrong with being in a cover band too, but cover bands make pretty good money.
If you're like a legit tribute band, you can make some serious money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just don't want to do that because I like writing songs too much.
Yeah, it's that I'm too immersed in all that stuff to, maybe later on in life I'll do
Yeah.
something like that.
You could do like a low country tribute.
A little country trip.
Yeah. You just play with my band. We'll play as everybody else.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
for
But
Frank and I from Low Country, we still get together every now. I just saw him recently when I went to that show on Monday.
how
But
is Frank?
Frank's doing really good. He's been with Empath. He moved out to Chicago a while ago. He's been
Yeah,
sober for
I haven't
over
seen him.
two
I used
years
to
now.
work with him, so I used to see him all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Frank's the man. Yeah, I love that dude. We were in a band together for a long time in Low Country.
All you guys were together for quite a while.
Oh yeah, yeah, a long time. 10 years, something like that.
That's
But me and
crazy.
Frank got something hopefully going on a little bit later into next year.
Oh, cool.
Probably doing something a little heavier again.
Well, maybe, hopefully, because I want to have you on more than just once. Maybe around that time, if it's kind of starting to ramp up, we can talk about that project.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That'd be
absolutely.
cool. Don't get me wrong, I can talk about Eastman all day too, but I feel like I haven't talked to Frank in forever, but he's a really talented dude.
Yeah, yeah. Frank's the man. Shout out to Frank.
I used to love when we would play with you guys, like watching him, and then like you guys would do. Sometimes you'd bust out like an Every Time I Die cover, and then he would grab me by the neck to like sing it or
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
I'm just like, okay,
yeah,
Frank, I got you, man.
yeah. Those are the days, man.
Although I feel bad that like there was a fight during my band set, and then you guys got in trouble for it.
At Franklin House,
Yeah,
yeah, the
I
Franklin
felt.
House show that's got its own little energy. That place, you know.
I think they're done doing them there, and they're moving them all to the other bar that they bought. Where,
Yeah, it's what was it, North Side or something
yeah,
like that.
like where we did that emo night.
I haven't been to one of those yet.
Weren't you at the one we did like a long time ago, like 3 or 4 years ago?
Maybe
I think
I
I
might have been.
think
Yeah.
there's a picture of us there.
You know what? I think you're right.
It's like
Yeah.
you, me, Frank, like everybody. It's like a big group
Okay.
picture. I want to say you
Yeah.
and I don't remember. That was a pretty crazy night, but
Yeah.
I remember about that though is talking to somebody and they're like, "Yeah, there's this room and they're gonna do shows," because Franklin House was too crammed in.
Yeah. It was crowded no matter what. And if there was a show, it was just double. You
I
know,
mean,
like
it was fun, but you know,
yeah. It really depends. Like, because that's like a good dive bar kind of energy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But like a lot of young fucking people go there that aren't there for a fucking show, and then you got a lot of
Especially
mixed
a
energy
metal
there.
show. No,
Yeah, I was fucking a metal show. Yeah, there was a lot of videos of people trying to like walk past us while Frank's like screaming and just them like not knowing what to do or how to handle it.
yeah, like fucking, it was like it'll be you guys, us, and like whatever other homies like on a bill, and I'm like looking at people out there in cowboy boots, like this is not gonna
Yeah,
go over well. Especially when all of our friends show up to watch our bands, I'm like, how is this gonna? It's two different
yeah,
vibes. Valpo's a weird place.
yeah, it really is.
There's a
It
lot
really
of
is.
diverse people, which is cool, but it's like for a show, it can get kind of chaotic. I know we're going a little long, but I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your podcast.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
I first of all, it's a really cool show. So Required Taste, you guys talk about a lot of different stuff, but I just wanted to ask like about you getting into podcasting in general and like just
Yeah.
you know,
I got a chance to be a part of a few podcasts while I was in Low Country, and then I had a buddy who started doing podcasts. This guy was Roger. He used to play drums in the early April, way back in
okay,
the day. I don't know if you remember that
yeah,
band.
yeah,
Yeah, he started a podcast, and he was a drummer, so we just kind of like talked about that. It was really cool. Did a couple podcast interviews with Low Country. Always had a good time. Um, And then, yeah, probably a couple of years ago, just asked my buddy Aaron, because we would always talk about nerdy history shit, like military history, weird, crazy events in history.
What was the recent was like the missing Nazi gold or whatever you guys were talking? I was
Yeah, the,
checking
the
it out. I
Nazi
didn't
gold
finish it
one.
yet.
Yeah, that's I haven't been on a lot of episodes lately. My schedule has been so crazy.
No, I figured, but like I still try to catch them when they come out.
Yeah, there's we've been fortunate enough to have a group of people that also love being involved with it. That we don't have to pay. Like everybody loves doing it because there's no money in it for anybody there. We just pretty much do it for fun. But there's like a network of like 5 or 6 of us that could do an episode, so it's a lot
Yeah.
easier for us now to like schedule stuff and keep doing the weekly episodes.
That's kind of the challenge. I mean, first of all, I say I'm very grateful for everybody who's had kind words and checked out the podcast. And this is a new thing for me, but it is a challenge when I'm trying to do a weekly show where it's just me and a new person every week.
Yeah,
Especially because I have a big mouth, but sometimes you don't always get somebody who's. It's not that they can't talk, but they're maybe not comfortable. They haven't done a podcast before.
yeah.
I haven't experienced that yet, but I've had that in the past with other shows I've done, and it's a lot. So that's pretty cool that you guys almost have like a network, sort of.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. When we originally started it, me and my buddy Aaron, we just talked about like, okay, so we'll try to do it once a week. We'll talk about something that we could squeeze into an hour. But we wanted to bring our friends Ben and John on because they were just so knowledgeable and they were into the same
Mm,
stuff that we were. But they're like, they could pick stuff out of their brains really easy.
sure.
without having to necessarily put in that much work into reading up on research and stuff like that.
I feel that though. That's kind of like how if you and I were doing a music show or something.
Yeah, we love doing music episodes. We got one coming up soon. We have somebody coming on that wanted to talk about like punk rock music and stuff like
But
that.
do you feel like as somebody who's a musician, not to cut you off, but just I wanted to
Mhm.
ask this, you're super active in music. Like sometimes you need a break in your other hobbies from that. I feel like to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about it all the time. Like I can't do it all the time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's weird. I think that they say drummers have like four different brains. Like
Believe it.
everything's compartmentalized like that. It's like the reason you're able to move all your hands and feet at different times and different speeds and all that stuff. So it's like
I believe that because I can't do
that,
that
that
shit.
yeah, so that translates on drums for me, but it doesn't translate to anything else in life. But like my brain still tries to do it. It tries to maintain all these things at the same time. But it's nice to break away for a little bit and do something else. The podcasting is cool because it's like no cell phone. We all kind of already read up and watched stuff about the topic. We make jokes about it because it's usually just got a lot of humor because history is absolutely ridiculous
It's
and
crazy.
hilarious. Yeah, there's so many crazy things, and it's so easy to just kind of like we just go on the internet and be like, okay, boom, there's a story. Let's fucking talk about that.
Dude, it's like watching History Channel stuff where they're like, yeah, they found Hitler in South America. And you're like, all right, whatever. They're joking. And they're like, oh shit, there were Nazis down there. Like, this shit's crazy. Like, when you
Yeah,
start
it's
learning all of that.
yeah, it's pretty wild. We would do episodes where it's like we would find like animals used in like war or like military history, things like that, or like jobs in history, like just random, like real crazy stuff like that.
No, yeah. And if anybody hasn't checked out your podcast, I'll have the link in the description, but I highly recommend you do because I feel like you have something for anybody who likes listening to podcasts.
Yeah, it's cool because it's not one of those podcasts where you got to start from the beginning. You can kind of just go wherever. We're not like
Yeah.
seasoned or anything. We've
No.
got well over like 120 episodes. We've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Yeah. It's not like you're covering every episode of Seinfeld in order or one of those shows.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
those
know,
are sick, but
I wish we would have numbered our episodes. We just didn't think of it when we started. But like now that we've already done so many episodes, like we can't go back and like
renumber them.
renumber them.
Yeah, so mine have numbers because when I started this, I was thinking about that. I was like, how am I going to do this? And I figured episode number, guest name, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have like seasons because it's just, whatever. But also, I'm like, if I named our episode something, I won't remember who the guest was. But if I put it as your name, I'll be like, yeah, I know exactly what we talked
Oh,
about.
yeah. Yeah.
Because like if it was just like fucking whatever something out of the context, I like a lot of shows are like that, but then I'm like, what the hell were we talking about?
Yeah, the only thing that the main reason I wish we numbered it was because we'll reference a lot of older episodes in other episodes.
Oh,
Like,
people could go back and check them out.
yeah, we'll be like, well, we talked about this in another episode in case you want to know what that's about. But we can't just be like refer to episode 137 because we
Did
have
you
no
date
fucking
them?
idea.
Are they dated?
I'm pretty sure they're dated. Yeah.
You might be
Um,
able to do it that way.
Yeah, we probably could. We do pretty good. Brandy, shout out to her. She handles our social media and all of that stuff. She's also on the podcast with us, but she's really, really good with keeping track and all
Hell
that
yeah.
stuff.
Also, for your band and for your podcast, you guys have merch.
Yeah, we do. The podcast, we have a link tree that's if you go to there, we have hoodies, tank tops, stickers, buttons, all that stuff.
Yeah,
East
button
Moon,
for
we
my
got a
guitar strap.
We actually just got the buttons too.
I
I don't
saw
even know
those.
why we didn't make them. On East Moon, we have pretty much everything. We're trying to work on some new merch, but we have most of our stuff. I would recommend coming to a show and checking out because we also have like a little bundle of old merch that we sell for a little bit cheaper. We used to sell our shirts affiliated with Pro Wrestling Tees, but that
Oh, really?
website isn't doing that anymore. So
Yeah, that's in
currently our
Chicago.
shirts. Yeah, pro wrestling team in Chicago. Shout out to them. But so far right now, our shirts are being basically sold directly through us.
It's funny that you say that because I go to a lot of wrestling shows, so I see those guys at like the AEW shows, and I've seen Andy Williams wrestle a bunch in person, which is fucking crazy. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
seen every time I die a million times. I love that band. I've been lucky enough to play with them with you guys actually. One of the
Yeah.
times you guys did, which was really I think it
Mhm.
was the first time we ever played with you guys. And like I've met like he's such a cool dude. He's huge, but he's so nice. And then you see him in the ring, and you're like, holy shit! Like
Yeah.
that is a wild career transition.
Yeah, it really is, man. Him and who's the other guy from God's Hate, I think,
Oh,
the singer. He's also a wrestler.
Brody King.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's insane.
Dude, I was at a show. There's this venue called the Odeum. I think they just closed. It was an old indoor soccer building, super old, like in the middle of somewhere in Illinois. And I went to like a New Japan Pro Wrestling show there, but they had AEW guys. And I was like walking to my car after the show, and he walked by, Brody King. And I've seen him like, from a distance in the ring, and he's all tattooed and huge and just looks like a beast. But in person, I was like, holy fuck. Like, I think this guy could legitimately kill me. Like, what a guy to have as your front man.
Yeah, that's fucking
He's got
wild,
like the
man.
beard and the shiesty on, and he's like tatted like head to toe, and he's huge. And I'm just like, this dude's awesome.
Yeah, like a fucking cartoon character. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the guy from Twitching Tongues does a lot of their songs.
Oh, no shit.
Colin Young or whatever his name is.
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, there's like kind of like a weird crossover metal hardcore sling community. I just go as a fan because I like, again, that's kind of one of my casual music breaks where I go there and I'm not watching the band where I'm like, I would be doing this or like, how does this sound? Like, I don't know how wrestling works as a wrestler, so I just sit there and don't think about that. But when I'm at a show, that's all I think about half
Yeah.
the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like in a judgmental way, but I'm like, what's this guy playing out of, and how's the sound guy doing, and like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
No, no, yeah, I hear you.
It's never like oh, I should do this or they suck thing, but it's more like or they're like, oh, they're so good. It's more or less like I'm just taking it in at a different level than like if I didn't know what was going on. I don't know if
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense,
No,
but
no, yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
it's like almost like too much.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm sorry I had a rant. Anyways, man, is there anything else you wanted to touch on? I know we hit about an hour. I have
Uh,
time, but if there's anything else you want to talk about,
yeah, you know what? Still, we got one more show for the rest of the year. I have the list of the band we're playing with and all that stuff. Yeah, but we're going to be playing December 27th at the Beat Kitchen with Connie Hash, Daybreaker, and Illusions of Choice. They're
oh,
all
that's a
really,
good
really good
lineup.
local bands. Yeah, Daybreaker is really, really good, like a
Connie Hash
shoegazy
is cool
band.
too.
Connie Hash is amazing. Those guys also, those are basically the same guys in another band called Gagger, this hardcore band that's from Northwest Indiana. They're super good, super talented dudes and ladies.
Was that 2 days after Christmas? You said.
December 27th. Yeah, we're going to be playing the Beat Kitchen with them. That's going to be the last one for the year. We haven't posted the flyer yet, but by the time this episode comes out, all of that stuff will already be
Absolutely, and
live. Yeah.
I'll be linking everything in the bio too. B Kitchen's awesome to play at. It's awesome to go to a show at. It's a really cool spot. The tater tots. I know we talked about health, but they got some.
Yeah,
They got
their
some good.
pizza's good too.
They got fucking all kind of shit, grilled cheese, whatever you want. Honestly,
Yeah,
their
their
kitchen's
food's
good.
good.
So if you play there and you ask for a case of water, you'll probably get a case of old style.
Yeah,
The green room. You ever had that? You're up there like what the fuck? But
yeah,
anyways, man.
absolutely.
Awesome. And then as far as the band goes, I know you guys said probably some new music of some sort in 2025.
Yeah, we're gonna be writing. Hopefully, we're gonna be releasing some songs early in 2025.
Excellent. Well, I will link all the socials, obviously, between the podcast and the band. Pick up some merch. Check out the episodes. Check out the songs. They're really good. And I appreciate you coming on. And I'm sorry, I feel like I went off on a lot of side tangents, but we have a lot we could talk about. So I hope we'll
Oh
do this
yeah,
again soon,
absolutely.
man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I may have to pick you up on the drummer for hire thing in your tag one of these days.
Hey, I'm available, man. Just let me know.
Sounds good. All right, man. Well, thanks you again for being on, and I look forward to doing this again very soon.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
All right.